Okay, for our try it section today, we are listing all factors of the numbers listed. So for number one, we had list the factors of 55. Over here, you can see the T-chart where we listed it. So of course, our very first factor, which we use for every number, is 1 and whatever that number is. So 1 and 55. Okay, this is an odd number. So when I am checking factors, I don't need to worry about checking even numbers because odd numbers don't have even numbers as factors. So I would go to the next number, which would be 3. And remember, the trick for checking a 3 is I add the two digits together and see if that number is divisible by 3. So 5 plus 5 is 10. That is not divisible by 3. So I know that 3 is not a factor of 55. So I move on to the next odd number, which is 5. And I know that 5 times 11 is 55 because that's a basic math fact. And then I would move on to the next even number, which is 7. So if I've listed my factors over here, and I can see that none of these are multiples of 7. So I know that 7 is not going to be a factor. So I move on to the next one, which is 9. So because 3 is not a factor, I know that 9 is not going to be a factor. And then I would check out 11, and I already have 11 written. So as soon as I've written one of the numbers, I know I'm done. So these are all of the factors of 55, 1, 5, 11, and 55. Okay, the next one we moved to was 96. So you can see it's a way longer T-chart. So here we have all of the factors of 96 written. So of course the first two are 1 and the number itself, which is 1 and 96. Okay, this is an even number, so I know for sure that it has a factor of 2. So if I wanted to figure out what its partner is, which is 48, I could divide, right? So I would say how many 2's would go into 90, which is this first digit here. To get as close to it as possible, that would be 40, right? So 40 times 2 is 80. So that's why I have a 4 sitting here in the tens place. That left me with 10 left over. So that would 10 added to this 6 would be 16. So 2 times what comes close to 16, and that's an 8. So that is just saying 96 divided by 2 is 48. Okay, the next one I'm checking is 3. So remember my trick for 3 is I take the two digits, add them together. 9 plus 6 is 15. Is 15 a multiple of 3? Yes, it is. So 3, and then I have to figure out what its partner is. So 96 divided by 3. I could do it in parts, like 90 divided by 3 is 30. So I put a 3 here in the tens place. And then that leaves me with nothing left over. So now I just have 6 in the ones place. So 3 divided into 6 is 2. All right, so the next one I'm checking on would be a 4. So I know that 2 is a factor. So what I can do is use the trick of halving one factor and doubling the other. So here, if I'm going to take double this one, turning it into a 4, I would take half of this, and half of 48 is 24. So next I would check 5. Well, I know 5 is not a factor because this doesn't end in a 0 or a 5. So I'd move to the next, which is 6. If 2 and 3 are factors, I know for sure 6 is a factor. So I would do that same division. So I could split this into 90 and 6. So 6 comes closest to 90 by just one time. So 1 in the tens place, right? So 60, and then I'd have 30 left over. So 30 and 6. So 6 times 6 is 36. So 96 divided by 6 is 16. All right, then I would move on to 7. If I look at all of these lists so far, none of these are multiples of 7. So I know that 7 is not going to be a factor. So move on to the next one, which is 8. 8, we can double this one and take half of that. So if I double 4, it becomes an 8. Take half of 24, it's a 12. Or I can just have my math facts memorized and know that 8 times 12 is 96. Then I would try 9. Well, I can see here that I've got 9 plus 6 is 15, but that is not going to be a multiple of 9. So 9 is not going to be a factor here. 10 cannot be it because it doesn't end in a 0. 11 is not a factor. And then we've already listed 12. So we're done. So these are all of the factors of 96. So they would all get listed like that. All right, the next one was 48. So here is the T-chart listing 48. And they're the exact same tricks every time. So to list 48, we have 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 16, 4 and 12, and 6 and 8. And for 100, we have 1 and 100, 2 and 50, 4 and 25, 5 and 20, 10 and 10. And then for the last one, 75, we have 1 and 75, 3 and 25, and 5 and 15. Remember, on those numbers that are odd, you don't need to go through every single number. You only need to check the odd factors because odd numbers only have odd numbers as factors. All right, if you have any questions, talk to your teacher, rewatch that video, and give this a good go. Bye.